Keep your songbooks and turn to 807, please. Number 807. I'm not going to sing it, but it coincides with what I'm going to speak about. In Luke 22, Jesus is in the garden. We all know the story. It's finally starting to hit him that he's going to die. He knows what's going to happen, and I think it's really finally starting to set into his humanity that this is what's going to happen. And when the chips are down and it's put up or shut up time, Jesus goes and he goes to his Father in prayer. He shows where his loyalties are. When his fear is at a certain level that some people would run, he puts his faith in God. There's a story I heard about not long after the Civil War. A bunch of Civil War veterans got together and they were sitting around a campfire in the evening as the sun had went down, and they were telling stories to each other about different experiences they had while the war was on. And one had asked to the group, at what point were you most afraid? What point were you most scared? And one guy told the story. He said, well, there was a time I feared for my life, and it was unnerving. He said, I had been given a dispatch, which is an envelope with orders in it. I'd been given this dispatch to take into rebel-controlled. This guy is a northern soldier. And he said, I'd been given this dispatch to take into a rebel-controlled area and give to a small fighting force that was there. It was very important that I get this through. And so what I decided was I was going to go late in the night and hopefully not run into too many people, too many Southern soldiers. So I got my horse that I've had for very long, and I was riding at about 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was riding down this real small, thin trail. And as I was riding down this hill, I see at the bottom there's a stream, and there's an old rickety bridge across the stream that I have to go over. And as I'm going down, just about to get on the bridge, my horse starts throwing a fit. Starts bucking his head and tries to knock me off. Well, I finally was able to calm him down to where I could just get off. And the horse still won't calm down, so what he did, he says, I started singing to my horse, Jesus, lover of my soul. And as I sang, pretty much whispered it into his ear and patted him on the neck, he calmed down enough to where he would let me cross that bridge. And I got my dispatch through, and I was able to get the orders through so that the small group of northern soldiers could get out safely. As he ends his story, there's a guy that's from the Southern Army that's in this group, stands up and he just starts weeping. He is just crying his eyeballs out. And everybody, all the other soldiers are kind of looking around like, what's the deal with this? How is he? And he walks over to the guy that had told the story, and he throws his arm around him and he hugs him and he falls on his neck. And he says, I know why your horse started getting upset and tried to throw you off. And he says, why? How could you know? I was there by myself. He said, no, you weren't. I was stationed across the other side of that bridge. And I was given orders, if I saw a northern soldier, I was to shoot and kill him. And as you came down that hill, I had my gun set on you. And as your horse saw me and started trying to throw you off, I couldn't just shoot you right then because I didn't have a clear shot. But when you got off and started singing Jesus, lover of my soul, there was no way I could shoot you. There was no way I can send you to meet God after having sung that and expect that I could ever get into the kingdom. So the two men later on, as the story goes, became good friends. But this guy, when he was faced with a life or death situation. If his horse made too much noise, he knew he was in a lot of trouble. When it came down to it, the first thing that he recalled, what he did to try and calm the situation, was go back to something of a spiritual nature. Obviously, growing up, he had been a person who had went to church and was somebody that really desired to know something about God. So when the chips were on the table for this guy, he decided that the best way to calm myself down and try and get my horse calmed down was to recite this song that's here in 807. I'm not going to sing it. I don't want to read it. But if you ever do get a chance, read through it and see how, it can be something that's calming. And I think it's, one of those things that makes Jesus that much more of an example is when he finally realizes what's going to end up happening to him in just a short amount of time. He's doing what he's doing, and that's praying to God and just asking for his strength to finish his job.